Okay, this is going to be the first lesson in Unit 2 for solving equations. Okay, all right, I'm going to go through some general rules here for solving equations. Okay, all right, these rules might not be applicable right away, but they will be as we go. Okay, now what we want to do to solve an equation, here's basically how we know it's done. We want to get the variable on one side, and then on the other side of the equal sign, we want all the numbers. Okay? We get the variable on one side and all the numbers overall on the other. Okay? Now, how do we get there? Okay, here's the first thing. Okay? First of all, we move all the variables to one side. Okay? All right? All right, move the variables all to one side. Okay, we move the separated numbers to the other side of the equal sign. Okay, we then move the attached numbers to the other side of the equal sign. Okay? Now, in order to do that, we have to follow two rules. That's the process. Okay? There are two rules we have to follow. When we move something, we use the opposite operation. That's important. Okay? We want to use the opposite operation. And the second thing we want to do is whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Okay? All right? So, from my perspective, I want to, this equal sign is like a wall or a fence or something of that nature. Okay? So we can't cross over unless we do something. So let's look at this first example. I got x plus 8 equals 18. Okay, I want to move all the variables to one side. Okay, I only got one variable, so that's easy. Okay, now move the separated numbers. Okay, so when you see an operation in here, okay, that is a separated. Actually, it's not separated wrong. Separated. Okay, all right, that's a separated number. Okay, from the variable. So there's an operation between it. Okay, so that's a plus. So the opposite of addition would be subtraction. Okay, so what would happen here is this goes away because it's the opposite. They cancel each other out. Okay, 18 minus 8 would be 10. Okay, all right, we don't have any attached numbers. Well, I'm going to show you those in a second. Okay, and so that would be my answer. Okay. Let's go over this one. It doesn't matter what side the variable is on. If it's over here, that's okay. All right? So what I want to do is get this away. This is a separated. Okay? This is separated. So if this is minus, to get rid of it, I'm going to have to add that. Whatever I do on one side, I do to the other. Okay? So that goes away. I got I. Okay? And then I just do negative 12 plus 5, which would be negative 7. Okay. Now, let's talk about some attached variables, okay? All right, I got the variables on one side. I don't have separated variables because I don't see an operation here. Now, when it's attached there, that's attached by multiplication. So that's going to be attached, okay? Now, if it's attached by multiplication, what I do is I'm basically dividing by that number on both sides, okay? You can use either the little division symbol, okay? If you prefer to actually show the division like this, I'm going to divide on this side, divide on that side. Okay, so that goes away. All right, 96 divided by 8 would be 12. Okay, if you want to show a little line, I'll show you that in a second. All right, this is also attached. Somebody would say, Mr. Evans, I think that's separated. No, it would have to have, the minus would have to be between it. Okay, so this is also attached by multiplication. Another way you can do that is you can draw this big line like this. Okay, so since this is attached by multiplying by -3, I'm going to divide by -3. So that's j equals 63 divided by -3, which is -21. Okay? All right, so that's a couple basics. Okay? I would like you guys to try in group 1 these questions. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video. Okay, go ahead and pause your video, attempt these, get answers, and then unpause. Okay, so what I would have to do on this one, this is separated, so I would have to add 7 and add 7. Okay, so that's going to be I equals 44 plus 7 would be 51. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. I got my variable right here by itself. I want to subtract 5, okay? All right, now I'm going to use my calculator for this. -26 minus 5, okay, which is -31. Okay? All right, now, these are attached numbers. So I would divide this by -9, divide by -9, so I got I equals 45 divided by -9 is -5. Okay, this is attached here, so I would divide by 10 on both sides. Okay, so 120 divided by 10 is going to be 12. Okay, so pretty simple examples there. Okay, now let's go into, we're going to try some more. Okay, so these are going to be notes. Okay, and I want to show you all things involving fractions. Okay, I want to show you all things involving fractions. Okay, all right. We're now going to talk about these, okay? How do fractions come in, okay? Now, the big thing with fractions, okay, you have to decide, is the fraction separated or attached? Okay, because they're going to be handled differently, okay? So, in this case, this is attached to this, okay? Now, this is the easiest way when this would be considered attached. Very simple. Take this number and we're going to cross multiply it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do 3 times 18, okay? Which would be 54, okay? Then I have 2i left over, so the 2 is there. Now this becomes easy. How did we get rid of it the last time? When it was attached like that, we divided. So 54 divided by 2 is 27. Okay? Now, let's go over to this one. Very simple. I got 1 there. I just cross multiply it. Okay, 12 times 4 is 48. And I just have I. I'm actually done there. I didn't have that extra number, so there was no extra number there, so it was good. So these were attached. Okay, that's how you handle them when they're attached. You take the bottom number and multiply it, and then if you got a number left over, you then divide it. Okay? Now, these right here are separated. Notice how there is an operation. So if I pretended like this was plus 3, everyone would say, Mr. Evans, you would just subtract that. That's right. So I would subtract 3/4. So I got I equals, okay? Now, let me show you on the Casio how we handle this. 10 minus, to make a fraction, I put parentheses, 3 divided by 4, and then close them. So I just put a division symbol between that and put parentheses, okay? And you could get a decimal, okay? Now, if you want to convert your decimal into a fraction, in this little button right above the 8, the fraction of decimal will make that. So you could write either 9.25, or I is, if I hit the fraction button, 37/4. Either way is acceptable, okay? If you're using Desmos, all right, pretty easy, okay? 10 minus 3 divided by 4. Now in Desmos, as you can see, it's a lot easier from that standpoint because you just hit the division. You don't have to use that. But what the Desmos doesn't do is it does not create a fraction for you, I don't believe. Okay. All right. No, it does not. All right. So you can use that if you need to. Okay. So the question is of this one, this minus 2/3. Is this separated or is this attached? So in this case, this is a separated. So what I would do is add 2/3, add 2/3. Okay. So that goes away. I got I. All right. I got 18 plus parentheses around the 2 divided by 3. Okay. So that's 18.6. Repeating. You may put a little bar above it like that. If you wanted to do a fraction, you hit that, and that's 56/3. Okay? All right? That's 56/3. All right? So what I like you guys to do is I like you guys to practice a few. Okay? So we're going to try these in group 3. Group 2, sorry. Okay, what number were we on? 12. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video and go ahead and try those. Okay, unpause your video. So this 5 right here is attached. Well, what do we do when it's in the bottom there? We're going to cross multiply it. So I would be 7 times 5, 35. Very easy. Okay, this is also attached. So I'm going to cross multiply that like that. That would be 5 times 20, okay, which would be 100. Okay, I still have this 3 here, so I divide that by 3. Okay, so 100 divided by 3 is 33.3 repeating. So I put a little bar over there. Or if I hit the fraction the decimal button, which is right above the 8, it just keeps it as 100/3. Okay? Now, these are different than 13 and 14. These are separated. So I would have to add 1/2. Add 1/2. Okay? So then I'm going to just simply do 9 plus, and put my parentheses around 1 divided by 2. I get a friendly decimal of 9.5. If I wanted to create that into a fraction, I hit fraction to decimal. 19/2. Okay? All right. This one is also separated. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 7/8. Okay, subtract 7/8. All right? So the big thing you got to figure out is it attached or is it separated? Negative 14 minus parentheses 7 over 8. Okay? Negative 14.875. If you wanted a fraction, you would just hit the fraction and decimal button, negative 119 over 8. Okay? All right? Let's do one or two more. Okay? All right? We're just going to do two more examples. Okay, and I'm going to give you two more to practice and we're going to be done. We'll be 17, 18. Okay. All right, let's do something real simple. Okay. All right. So let's go over these. Okay? I'm just introducing x. You can use any variable you want. So what I want to do, I got the variables on one side. Now, what you see is I have two numbers on that side. This would be the separated one. This would be the attached one. And what my rule says is I got to get the separated one away first. So in this case, what I would do is subtract 5, which would give me a 36, and then 3x. Now I want to get rid of the attached. That's attached by multiplication, so I go ahead and divide. 36 divided by 3 would be 12. Okay? Same thing over here. I got a attached and a separated. I'm going to get rid of the separated. If it's minus 10, I would add 10. Okay, so that would be 55 equals 2x. Now I'm going to get rid of the attached by dividing. Okay, 55 divided by 2 is 27.5. Okay? All right, so very simple. This goes first, this goes second. Okay? Always move the separated first, then move the attached. Okay? I'm going to give you 2 to do, and then we're done. Okay, so I would like you guys to do those 2. We're going to put these in group 3. Okay, so here's how we have to do this. Got the variables on one side. Okay, variables on one side. All right, so what I want to do here, okay, is the choice is, do I move this one or this one? I always move the separated first. I would be doing that through addition. Okay? And then I'm getting rid of this 4 here by division. 28 divided by 4 would be 7. Okay? So I got numbers here and here. I would want to move this one first through subtraction. Okay, so this goes away there. Okay? So what I got is negative 42 minus 3. I might use my calculator for that. That's negative 45. And then I want to divide both sides by 9. And that's going to be negative 5. Okay? So that's our first lesson. We're going to get a little bit more in detail as we go, but I think that's a good start for today.